Forget everything you know about plane crashes. Usually, the story begins with a mechanical failure, a storm, or human error. But the tragedy of Flight Helderberg isn't about that, no. Its story begins underground, in a secret room where generals, diplomats, and a very frightened engineer were deciding the fate of a highly dangerous nuclear material. They knew that the cargo to be placed on that Boeing 747 combi could spontaneously ignite. They were warned that if it came into contact with water, it could detonate. But do you know what the answer was? The fire will extinguish itself. And the warning was confiscated. That night, 159 lives boarded without knowing that the cargo in the hold was a time bomb, and that the captain had received direct orders not to touch it. This video isn't about how a plane crashed, it's about why it was forced to crash. This is about the courage of a flight engineer who tried to warn, and who, in the end, dedicated his last minutes to leaving a testimony for the world. It's about a passenger who survived the initial crash only to see an unbelievable scene in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The Helderberg was not an accident. It was a secret that needed to be buried. Stay with me until the end, because the evidence that surfaced years later proves that the objective was not to avoid the fire, but rather to control the burning time to ensure that the plane fell into deep waters before any evidence surfaced. Are you ready to dive 5 kilometers deep and uncover the secret that South Africa chose to bury forever? Then sit back, leave your like, and let's begin the search for the truth. The last flight of the Helderberg. The story begins not in the sky, but in an underground room in Pretoria. 3 weeks before the disaster, an engineer sits at a table with generals and diplomats. Before him are graphite cylinders coated with a silver alloy, centrifuges, for uranium enrichment nuclear material. Clandestine, he warns. The coating contains magnesium varnish. If heated above 550 degrees, it ignites spontaneously. If it comes into contact with moisture, it detonates. An officer replies, "The plane has direct ventilation. If it catches fire, the oxygen runs out. The fire will extinguish itself." The engineer disagrees, but no one writes down what he says. His notebook is confiscated before he leaves the room. The plane that would carry this material was the Helderberg, a Boeing 747 combi, passengers in the front, cargo in the back. A movable partition wall, air circulating between the two sections. A practical design, efficient, dangerous. On the night of November 28, 1987, the flight takes off from Taiwan bound for South Africa. Hours before the disaster, the captain receives a sealed envelope. He signs it without showing the contents to the crew. The flight engineer, G. Fry, a former Boeing inspector fired for reporting flaws in compartments like that one, smells a familiar odor upon entering the plane: burnt almonds. Magnesium varnish heating up. He sees that a sensor on the 3R unit is registering an abnormal temperature. He wants to investigate. The captain stops him. "Don't touch it. I received direct orders." During the flight, the relief crew hands over the plane. One of them whispers, "The 3R unit is hot. I turned off the alarm." The captain doesn't react. He already knew. Shortly after, the cabin crew serves dinner. Bobodi, a traditional South African dish. The captain looks at the dish but doesn't eat. "I'm not hungry." For what comes next? 30 seconds later, bang! Smoke fills the cabin. Alarms sound. The captain declares an emergency. "We have a smoke problem. We request an immediate descent." But it's no surprise he shows it. It's resignation. Fry, seeing the sensors shoot up to 670 degrees, says only, "I warned them. They knew. They all knew." When the first officer suggests landing on Reunion Island, "Closer," the captain replies. "They said that if we land with this on board, it's not us who go down, it's the country." In the final minutes, Fry doesn't panic. He begins dictating data into the voice recorder. Altitude, faults, pressure. He's not trying to save the plane. He's leaving a testimony. The Helderberg breaks in two. It sinks in the Indian Ocean. Days later, bodies are recovered. Among them, 3 wristwatches. 2 stopped at the exact moment of structural failure. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 2 seconds, and 2 hours, 2 minutes, 47 seconds. The third stopped at 2 hours, 4 minutes, 11 seconds, 2 minutes after impact with the sea. It seems impossible, but it isn't. It belonged to a passenger who survived the initial fall. He floated and saw something unbelievable. Container 3R continued burning on the surface. Blue flames, even in contact with the water. The substance was ammonium perchlorate, a component of rocket propellant, never declared in the cargo. The original cargo document, the master waybill, was destroyed shortly after the accident. The radio recordings from Station Zur, which could contain critical conversations, were overwritten only that day. Coincidence? No. Years later, a secret memo surfaced. Instructions to modify containers, not to prevent fires, but to control the burning time, ensuring the plane fell into deep water before any evidence surfaced. New safety rules did come. Class B compartments gained automatic systems. Combi flights with passengers were banned on long-haul routes. But what really changed was quieter. The understanding that sometimes the greatest risk is not in what you transport, but in who decided you should transport it, and remain silent about it forever. The Helderberg didn't crash by accident. It crashed because someone chose that some truths shouldn't fly, but also couldn't stay on land. And at the bottom of the ocean, almost 5 kilometers deep, it still rests, intact, sealed, like a secret the world decided to bury, but which the clocks, stopped at different times, keep trying to reveal. This is the story of an accident, or perhaps a calculated sacrifice. The Helderberg flight is not just a tragic landmark. It's a grim reminder that sometimes the truth is the most dangerous cargo of all. Now I want to know your opinion. If you were Engineer Fry and knew what would happen, would you have boarded that flight hoping to leave your testimony? Or would you have refused to participate in such a fatal secret? Leave your comment below. What does this story reveal about the price that governments and large corporations are willing to pay for silence? If you were as shocked as I was by what was covered up in this case, don't keep this story to yourself. Share this video with a friend who also loves to unravel historical mysteries and conspiracies. And of course, if you've made it this far, it's because the truth, however inconvenient it may be, interests you. So, don't let our channel sink into oblivion. Subscribe and activate the bell to be notified whenever we bring to light another secret that the world tried to bury. Until next time, and remember, the clocks stop, but the story continues.